Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to write the equation of a line that passes through the point P at negative 5.4, and specifically that's perpendicular to the line described by y is equal to 3x minus 1. And then, once we've done that, we will be asked to identify the y-intercept and the x-intercept. Okay, so first things first, we know it passes through the point P, and that it's perpendicular to the line described by 3x minus 1. And so we can get two things. Because we know that it's perpendicular to a line written in slope-intercept form, we can get our slope, right? Because we know that the slope of perpendicular lines are negative reciprocals of one another. And so since the slope of y is equal to 3x minus 1, this has a slope of 3, then our line slope is going to be negative 1 over 3. And we have 1 point on our line, and so a situation like this really lends itself to writing it in slope point form, right? Because we have the slope and the point on the line. And so let's go and do that. So we can write this as, again, it's always y minus y1, y minus the coordinate of some point on the line in y is equal to m, the slope, times x minus x1, the x coordinate of that same point that is on the line, right? For us, that point is negative 5, 4, so the x coordinate is 4. Sorry, the x coordinate is negative 5. The y coordinate, rather, is positive 4. And so we're going to write it in this form. So we'll have y minus 4 is equal to m. We know, since again, it's perpendicular to a line with a slope of 3, we know our slope is negative 1 over 3, negative 1/3. And then we'll have x minus the x coordinate, right? Our coordinates are always in the form x, y. And so x minus the negative 5. I'll write it like this. And we can clean this up a little bit. We can write this as y minus 4 is equal to negative 1/3 times x plus 5, like so. And now this is in point slope form. I'll make a note of that. Point slope form, right? And to answer the second part of our question, what is its y-intercept and x-intercept? We can do one of two things. Anytime we're looking for the y-intercept, that is specifically looking for when we have a point at x equals 0, right? Because the y-intercept is directly on the y-axis, which is when our x-coordinate is 0. And conversely, our x-intercept is the point on the curve where y is equal to 0. So we can either plug in these specific values into our equation and solve, excuse me, and solve for them, or we can rearrange our equation and bring it into slope-intercept form in, y is equal to, I'll use a different color here. I will use a red marker. We can put it into slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept. That's of the form y is equal to mx plus b. And all we would have to do to have it in that form would be to isolate the y, right, and multiply through. So we have two options. I guess I'll do one of each. If we want to bring this into slope-intercept form, we're going to want to bring the y by itself on one side and we'll multiply through this bracket, right, because there's no bracket in the form mx plus b. So let's go multiply through. That means we'll have y minus 4 is equal to negative 1 over 3x. Negative 1 over 3 times 5 means minus 5 over 3. And now, again, we want to isolate the y. And so let's get rid of the minus 4 by adding 4 on both sides. Those cancel out. And that means that we get, in slope-intercept form, y is equal to negative 1 over 3x minus 5 over 3 plus 4. I'll remind you that 4 is equal to 12/3, right? In the spirit of getting a common denominator to be able to add fractions. So minus 5/3 plus 12/3 means we're left with plus 7/3. And now, in slope-intercept form, that means that negative 1/3 acts as our slope, which we knew, and 7/3, that's our y-intercept. And so this tells us that our y-intercept is at 0 and 7/3, like so. Okay, if you want to test that out, you can plug in x equals 0, because any y-intercept is always found at an x-coordinate of 0, right, on the y-axis. You can plug x equals 0 into your equation that you found over here and make sure that that checks out. You should get a y value of 7/3. To get the x-intercept, let's actually do that so we can practice that idea. If for the x-intercept, we're going to plug in y is equal to 0. What's the little y is equal to 0. We can plug that into either this form or that form, whatever form you rather. Now you have two options. Now that you have it in slope-intercept and in point-slope form, you get to choose. In the sake of working with what we originally had, I'll go ahead and plug y equals 0 into here, and I'll solve for x, okay? So let's plug in y is equal to 0. That means that 0 minus 4 is equal to -1/3 bracket, bracket x plus 5, right? I just plugged in y is equal to 0 into this point slope form equation. My y became the value of 0, right? Y is equal to 0, henceforth the y becomes 0. And now we're just going to do a bit of algebra to solve for that x value. So we have -4 is equal to -1/3 x plus 5. Now, we know we want to get the x by itself, so let's get rid of the other stuff that's wrapped around the x. So x plus 5 is in bracket. The -1/3 is out front. We can get rid of that by multiplying both sides by the negative reciprocal of -1/3, which means multiplying by -3, right? Or rather just by the reciprocal of -1/3. The reason being, -1/3 times -3 is simply +1, and that gets rid of it all, right? So these two essentially cancel out, and we do the same thing on both sides, so times -3, right, and stuff in brackets. So now the -1/3 and the -3 have canceled out, and so all we have left on the right-hand side is x plus 5, right? That was the goal. On the left side, we have -4 times -3 for +12. And now you can probably see how to finish that equation off. Subtract 5, and we get 7 is equal to x. That was the value of x that we found for when y was equal to 0. And so that means that we have an x-intercept at x is equal to 7, y is equal to 0, and so at this coordinate. And that is the end of our problem. So y-intercept is when x is equal to 0, x-intercept, that's when y is equal to 0, that's right on the y-axis, right? So we found the x-intercept, the y-intercept, we have our equation in point-slope form, we also have it in slope-intercept form. Hope this helps. Thank you for watching. Take care.